Hi, this is another of the grade 4 kind of quick test type materials. It's going to take you about half an hour, 40 minutes or so to work through. Please do stop the video, have a go at each of the questions, compare your solutions. If you get any particular issues, let me know. Add a comment below. I'll always come back to you. Look forward to seeing you inside the video.
Hi, this is one of the grade 4 level quick tests, but this one I thought would be a little bit different, and we'll put a which answer. So you've actually got a bank of answers. Now, as we're going to be working through this, I won't be referring back through this bank of answers, but hopefully you'll be able to tick them off as you work them out. Please do stop the video, have a go at each of the questions, compare your solutions. Okay, so let's move on then to question number 1 and 2. Okay, so we've got the square root of 64 plus 7 squared. Well, the square root of 64 is 8. Okay, so that's going to be fairly straightforward, and then 7 squared is going to be 49, so that should give you 57. And actually, if you go to the bank, it's actually going to be, well, I'll just show you this on the one, so it's actually going to be this one here. Okay, so we'll be able to cross that one out. All right, let's move on then to question number 2, and I won't be going backwards and forwards as we're working through. Okay, so the mean of the following numbers. Well, to work out the mean of anything, all we do is we say, well, mean is equal to total divided by number. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add 14, add 3, add 14, add 10, add 9, all divided by the amount of numbers we've got is actually 5, so that's going to give us a mean of 10 for question number 2. Okay, hopefully that's all right for you. So let's move on then to question number 3 and 4. How many sides of a regular dodecagon? Well, a regular dodecagon actually has 12 sides. A decagon has 10 and a dodecagon has 12. Find the total volume of the prism. Okay, well, volume equals area times depth. Okay, and this is important because we've got the area of a triangle, which for most people they would actually write that as a half 5 times 8. Okay, and then the depth itself is 6. Okay, so that's going to give you a total value of 120, because 5 times 8 is 40. 40 times a half is going to be 20, and 20 times 6 is going to be 120. Now the units are going to be centimeters cubed on this particular one, but it is 120 on the answer bank. Okay, let's move on then to question number 5. A circle has a diameter of 14 centimeters. Estimate the area of the circle, and this is the key area here. So we're going to use the value of pi as 3. The area of a circle equals pi r squared, so that's going to be 3. And if I put multiplied by radius is 7, just be very careful, it's given us the diameter, the radius itself is 7, that's going to be squared, so that's going to be 49 times 3, which should give you an answer of 147. Okay, hopefully that's all right for you. Let's move on to the next one, number 6. Give your answer as a whole number. Well, in order to make two mixed numbers add to each other, we need to make sure the denominator is the same. So the first one I'm going to write as 1 and 30 over 54, and the second one I'm going to leave as it is, 24 over 54. And when I add the 1 and the 3 together, I'm going to get 4. When I add the fractions, I get 54 over 54, so my total value as a whole number will be 5. Okay, hopefully that's all right. So number 7 is one that's just a little bit tricky. You could do this as a standard form, but I'm actually going to do it by using equivalent fractions, because effectively I can say, well, that's the same as 0.0004 all divided by 0.000016. So if we look at the top, if I move the decimal point 4 places, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm actually going to get 4. If I move the decimal point at the bottom 4 places, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to get 0.16. That's still not really that great for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the bottom by 100, or I'm going to move the decimal point 2 places, 1, 2. So the bottom is going to become 16, but I actually have to move the top by 2 places, so I'm going to add 2 zeros, 1, 2, 0, so that's going to be 400. Okay, so if I divide top and bottom now by 4, I'm going to get 100 over 4, and 4 goes into 125 times. So a bit of a tricky one, was quite challenging with some of my tutoring students, so well worthwhile kind of getting to grips with that as a non-calculator. I will comment this is all non-calculator. Okay, so the first 5 terms of a sequence, well, you could write out also all the numbers to get to the 20th term. What I'm going to do, however, I'm going to calculate the nth term, because I know this is minus 5 each time. Okay, and I know also my 0 term is going to be 39, so I'm going to write the nth term as being equal to minus 5n plus 39. So if I want to find the 20th value, I'm going to just basically put 20 where n is, okay, and then calculate that, and it should give me minus 61, and that would be the answer to question number 8. Okay, let's have a look then at question number 9 and 10. I'm going to work all the way through this whole worksheet, because it's hopefully it'll be okay for you, but please, as I say, do stop the video, have a go at each of these. If you get any questions, don't hesitate to add a comment below. I'll always come back to you. Okay, so the way I would do this is I would start with the factor tree. So I'm going to do 64. I've got 2 and 32, and then I'm going to do 2 and 16. Now you'll see what I'm doing here is I tend to do this in a bit of a kind of a golf club sort of way, so you can see that all of my factors, my prime factors, are actually down the left hand side and then along the bottom, and you get this kind of nice golf club sort of effect. If I do that then with 120, I'm going to get 2 and 60, and then I'm going to get 2 and 30, and then I'm going to get 2 and 15, and then finally 3 and 5. Now the reason I've done that is because then if I want to put this into a Venn diagram, it just makes it a little bit easier to see, because essentially 2 and 2 are central to both. If this is the group for 64 and the group for 120, then I've got another 2 and 2 there, and then I've got finally another 2 there. Okay, and then if I look at 64, I've got 2 and 2 left, so that's 1, 2 and 3. And if I look at 120, I've got 3 and 5, so 3 and 5. And then basically to work out the LCM, what I do is I multiply all of these numbers together, and that's going to give me a value of 960, and that would be the answer to that particular question. Okay, hopefully that's all right for you. Let's have a look then at Varsha's going on holiday to France. The exchange rate is that. So basically what we're saying is we've got £1 to every 1.4 euros. Okay, so if we're looking to change £250, it's a matter of saying, well, I've multiplied that side by 250. So therefore my answer really will be 1.4 multiplied by 250. Now you might do this slightly differently to me. I would tend to do 250 times 14, and that would give me something in the region of hopefully something that looks like that. So I end up with 3500, but don't forget I've actually got one decimal point, because this would be actually be 1.4, so I move it back one decimal point, so my answer is going to be 350 euros. Okay, and that would be the answer to question number 10. Okay, so we're about halfway through. There are mixed ability. These mostly they are grade 3, grade 4 type questions. Some of them are fairly straightforward, like number 11. So number 11, write down the size of the angle. Well, you might remember that it's actually the alternate angle, so basically it's a Z shape, just like that. Okay, so that would be 63 degrees. Okay, and then number 12, work out the size of the exterior angle of a regular polygon. Well, all the exterior angles add up to 360 degrees. and it's actually an octagon, I beg your pardon, so it's got 8 sides. So all we need to do is divide 8 into 360 and we should get 45. So that would actually be 45 degrees as the answer to that question. Okay, next one is going to be question number 13. Work out 134% of 180. Okay, all right, well, okay, so probably the easiest way of doing this is to say, well, actually, I need to just concentrate firstly on the 34%. So I'm going to do 10% equals 18, which also means that 1% must equal 1.8. Okay, I can then say if I want 30% is going to be 18 times 3, which is going to be 54, and 4% is going to be equal to 1.8 times 4, which is actually going to be 7.2. Now what I'm actually going to do is just use this bit of information here to add everything up. Okay, so I've got 2 and then I've got 1 there, 6120. Now don't forget that actually I've got to add that onto the 180 in order to get 134%. So therefore I've got 180 plus 61.2, add all of that together and I should get an answer of 241.2, but don't forget it does say so the nearest whole number is going to be 241 as the answer to that question. So a little bit tricky, but hopefully you followed the logic on that one. Okay, so number 4, Mr. Smith wants to buy the enormous total of 108 packs of pens for his shop. Okay, so what I'm going to say as an estimate is that each pack is going to be equal to £9 plus 20% VAT. Okay, so that's going to equal 9, and then 10% would be 0.9, so I'm going to plus 0.9, and another 10% is 0.9, so therefore it means that each pack is going to be, as an estimate, £10.80. Okay, and then he's going to buy 108 packs. I'm going to estimate that as 100, so I'm going to get 10.8. 0 multiplied by 100 is going to be the amazing total of £1,080 that he's going to spend on pens for his shop. Okay, hopefully that's all right for you and you're able to follow that through. Okay, so let's have a look then at question number 15. So Govin buys an original painting for £800 and he sells the painting for £1,000. Calculate the percentage profit. Well, profit is going to be equal to, if I just write here, so percentage profit is going to equal to difference divided by original. Okay, so the difference between what he bought it for and what he sold it for is £200, and the original price was going to be 800, and then I need to make that into a percentage, so therefore I'm going to multiply through by 100. Okay, now there's a couple of different ways of doing this. Probably the easiest way is to divide top and bottom through by 100, so I basically lose those 2 zeros and those 2 zeros, and then 200 divided by 8 is going to give me a value of 25, which would be the answer to that particular question. So he's going to achieve 25% profit. Okay, number 16, Andy, Brian and Charlie, as these people always have A, B and C when it comes to ratios, they share £750 in the ratio 2 to 5 to 8. Well, let's have a look at what happens with 2 to 5 to 8. So basically if they shared £15, Andy would get £2, Brian would get £5 and Charlie would get £8. However, they didn't share £15, they actually shared £750, which is 50 times larger. Okay, so all we've got to do is multiply everything else by 50. So that's going to be 100 to 250 to 400. So therefore, how much Charlie received? Well, Charlie received £400. Okay, let's go on then to the final page on this. There's another sort of 6 questions to go, again varying ability, but hopefully you'll be okay with them. Let's move on then to question number 17. So in question number 17, again non-calculator, as I've got noted at the top there. So 10 people take 8 days to paint a factory. How long will it take 4 people to do the same job? Okay, so what I would always look at with this is saying, well, if it's one person, if it's 10 people taking 8 days, then one person must take 80 days to do the job. So if we're looking at 4 people, it's going to be 80 divided by 4, which is going to be 20 days. And actually, that's the answer to that particular question. Okay, let's move on then to number 18. Calculate the length of the hypotenuse. Well, we're just going to use Pythagoras for this, so I'm going to say a squared equals b squared plus c squared. So a is going to be the hypotenuse. Some people will say c squared equals a squared plus b squared. It doesn't really matter, providing you recognise that the hypotenuse squared is equal to the sum of the square of the other 2 sides. Okay, so b squared, well that's 5, so that's going to be b squared is 25, and c squared is 12 squared is going to be 144, so that's going to equal 169, so therefore a must equal 13, which is the square root of 169. Okay, hopefully that's all right for you. Let's move on then to question number 19. Now, the way I would always do this is I would draw a little bit of a sketch. I just find it a little bit easier to do this. So if this is 6 meters squared, it's fine to say that's 6 meter and this length here is 1 meter. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. I've got a 1 meter by 6 meter square, or a rectangle rather. Okay, so if I have the same size shape, but actually rather than making it 6 meters, I'm going to say it's 600 centimeters, okay, and also then 100 centimeters. I haven't changed anything, I've just changed my unit of measurement from meters to centimeters. Okay, so to convert 6 meters squared to centimeters squared, I'm going to do 100 multiplied by 600, well that's going to be 6, and then 4 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would be the answer in centimeters squared. Okay, so question number 20. Kaz uses a scale of 1 to 200 to make a model of a rocket. The height of the rocket is 46 meters. Work out the height of the model. Okay, so what I'm going to do is also recognize that the model is likely to be in centimeters, so rather than saying 46 meters, I'm going to make that 46 or 4,600 centimeters, and then I'm going to use my scale. So I've got 1 to 200. Okay, now in reality the height of the rocket then is 4,600 centimeters, so it's actually 23 times bigger. So therefore I'm going to multiply this by 23, so the height of my model is going to actually be 23 centimeters. Okay, hopefully that's all right. All right, let's move on then to the final 2 questions. So we've got the mean of 9 numbers is 62. So let's just concentrate on that first statement. So mean equals total divided by number. Okay, so for the first 9 numbers, I'm going to have a mean of 62. So 62 equals my total divided by 9 numbers. So therefore, for those 9 numbers, my total is going to equal 62 times 9, and however you do that, which is going to equal 558. Okay, which is my total. All right, let's have a look then at the mean of 3 numbers is 52. So let's look at that. So with 3 numbers, I've got 52 equals total divided by 3. So therefore my total for my 3 numbers is going to be 3 times 52, which is going to be 156. Okay, alright, so now what I need to do is calculate the mean of the other 6 numbers. Well, the mean is going to be the difference in totals divided by 6. So if I just write this at the bottom here, the mean is going to be the total divided by the number. Okay, well, the total is 558 minus 156, which is 402, all divided by 6. So the value of the mean for the 6 numbers will be 67. I'm sorry I've had to squeeze that a little bit onto the image, but I hope you can see that okay. Alright, let's finally go on to the value of x in the equation. Fairly straightforward. If I minus 3 from both sides, I'm going to get 5x equals 35, and then I'm going to divide by 5, and x is going to equal 7, and that's actually the answer to that final question.
Okay, so I hope that was useful to you. If you're not sure about anything, always add a comment below, and I'll always come back to you, and I look forward to seeing you inside the next video.